So, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis, with me, Mark, and also three amazing guests slash co-hosts are joining me today. We've got Randy Ray, my old partner from our Wednesday chat show, BookTube Talk Live, and of course from his
Howdy,
channel,
partner.
The Literate Texan. We've got Mike from Riff Raff's Reading Renaissance, and we've got Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
I should have said
Howdy, everybody.
hello, gentlemen, and Mike, or hello, gentlemen, and Randy, or something like that.
Oh, I did that to my ex-wife one time. She was so upset when she realized what I'd done.
What did you do?
I came in and I said, ladies, Allison.
This was before or after she was your ex-wife?
This was after. Well, it took her a few minutes to, with her. Wait a minute, we're live, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Never mind. My ex-wife's wonderful.
She's probably not watching, though, to be fair.
That's true. Yeah. Well, she has no problem reliving my mistakes to my friends if they teach on the same college campus as she does. My ex-wife's a professor. Go figure.
Did you have to call her the professor? You like
No.
the kids, what's the professor making for dinner tonight? Or whatever.
No, that would have been wonderful though, wouldn't it? Well, she got her degree, and so I went online and I found a place that gave free degrees. You know how you can get free certification and ordination to perform marriages? They also have free diplomas you can get. So I got my PhD in simplicity theory moments after she graduated.
So you are Dr. Randy Ray.
I do have a PhD in simplicity theory from Dude University.
The Dude
University.
Yeah, the same guys who bring you the Dudism religion, the slowest growing religion on the planet.
Is that like the Big Lebowski then?
It is like the Big Lebowski. Yeah, it's a religion based on the figure of the dude, representing that cosmological, take it easy, rebel shrug kind of thing that we get from Christ and the Buddha and the dude, among many other characters.
Dr. Randy Ray. Well, go figure. I feel
I got my PhD in simplicity theory.
Now, do they have other PhDs you can get, or just simplicity theory?
They did have several others. That was the one I chose.
I feel I need to read up on simplicity theory.
Yeah. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. I figured that out drinking at a bar one night. I used to drink Manhattans, and then I thought, why am I making the bartender go to this much trouble? 3 shots of Jack Daniels on the rocks is good enough for Sinatra. It's got to be good enough for Randy Ray.
Good enough for me at bedtime when I want a good night's sleep.
3 shots before bed, Greg.
No, usually I just take one, or
right.
Probably it'd be considered a double, just using the glass that I have.
Right.
Speaking of alcohol, as long as you don't mind, Randy, obviously, but
I used to drink.
Well, I know that's why I'm nervous about talking about it, but you brought it up. So
don't be nervous.
Has anyone been a martini drinker in their time? As it kind of fits in with
I'm
the
not
whole.
sure I've ever had a martini.
Yeah, you never had a martini? Oh, really? No. But Randy's had a few in his time.
Oh,
look on your face.
Shaken was good.
If it can be made with alcohol and mixed with something, I've had it.
I don't recognize the martinis in the novels.
Yeah,
because I just finished Diamonds Are Forever. So
yeah.
I think you were reading it.
I'm about halfway through. There was one reference to martini. I think Leitner ordered a drink for him, and when he got back, the reference was that.
I think you're right. I mean, it was not. It was not the iconic line that they use in the movies.
No, I mean, I read For Your Eyes Only, which is a short story, I guess, and there wasn't even any. Oh, well, there was drinking in it actually, because he drank. Was it bourbon? He had a flask, 3/4 full of bourbon, and a quarter full of coffee that he took
Wow.
with him. Yeah, it was quite interesting, really, because it had none of the glam that you associate with, of course, James Bond in that one, and of course, completely nothing like the film. I'd never read it before, so it was really interesting to see. Just like I don't even know how they got that film out of it, really. So
They just took the title.
Yeah, that's literally it.
I mean, I saw Diamonds Are Forever, the movie, probably late 70s, early 80s. I cannot tell you one thing about that movie.
I just remember the two freaky American guys who were like a kind of demonic Simon and Garfunkel or whatever they were. Do you remember in the film? They had like one of them had long hair. They called each other Mr. something and Mr. so-and-so. In Diamonds Are Forever. They just stand there.
There were two gangsters in the book, but you probably got in there, Mike, with the gangsters.
Yeah, I've met the gangsters, but they don't sound like Simon and Garfunkel.
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm just because probably when it was made, but in the film, they're a bit kind of, I can't remember their name. Well, Libra Paradis says here, and he says prefers the films to the books, and I wondered then in that case maybe Libra Paradis, so you can enlighten me as to what the names of the two men I'm thinking of are in Diamonds Are Forever.
I must admit, I've sort of watched all the films as they came out, and I've never read any of the books. This is my very first James Bond novel. And I agree with Greg, it's completely different from the film, but I haven't decided yet whether I like that or not. I always found the films a little silly, if you know what I mean. They were meant to be silly, whereas the books are not really silly. It feels to me that they're quite gritty, and I quite like them so far. Well, the Diamonds Are Forever, sample of one, but I quite like it so far.
Yeah, there's none of the gadgets or the great escapes, or I mean, there's a little bit of that. I mean, I don't know. There's a bar fight scene, sort of, and Bond loses, and he's like, okay, that's not the film, but it's okay. But it's I guess it's a little more realistic and close down to what an agent would be like.
Yeah, I guess so.
Even more curious is, at least in this novel, Diamonds Are Forever, it's not really espionage that he's investigating. It's a diamond smuggling ring. It's a crime. It's a crime novel, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I was going to bring it up later. I might as well be the one to kick off, I suppose, because it kind of fits in. But as I mentioned, I read The Spy Who Loved Me, which came actually in this, the big book of espionage. And it's the first time I read, one of the shorter stories. But it did prompt me to pick up this, which I think if you saw my book haul video that I got, this James Bond dossier by Kingsley Amis. And it's interesting because what you said, Greg, about it being more of a crime novel, he says in here that, the term spy doesn't really often apply to James Bond at all, because the only time he ever does anything that's actually like spying is when he steals the machine in Russia from Russia with Love. The other times he's a secret agent, whether that's a law enforcement agent or something like that, but he's not actually often out there, engaged in spying, as it were. So that's kind of interesting. But I did appreciate the fact that he says, because as many of you know, I've been reading Len Dayton quite a lot recently, and he starts talking about how, like, with where is it? He kind of discusses Bulldog Drummond for a bit and some older kind of espionage people, and then he moves into criminal like detectives and things, and how like at the time he's writing, which is in the 60s, he's saying, Marjorie Allingham's, Albert Campion, Agatha Christie's, Hercule Poirot, Rex Stout's, Nero Wolfe are still with us. They've been going for over 25 years, still going. And then he moves on to say something about where is it? Yeah, he says contemporary descendants of Sherlock Holmes are Inspector Barlow of Z-Cars, which was an old television show in the 60s, and Maigret. Both are so much like you and me as positively to repel any attempt at self-identification. They go out of their way, one feels, not to be eccentric, not to display any of those irrelevant attributes that helped to mark their forebears as glamorous, not to play the violin or appreciate wine or rear orchids. A documentary, prosaic, even seedy mode of detective and detection comes into favor when the fantastic pulls or becomes as a worked out vein. Something similar may have begun to happen already with The Secret Agent. Mr. Len Dayton's The Ipcress File and Horse Underwater are, I suppose, more realistic than anything of Mr. Fleming's, though their narrative method with pointers, hints, even some blah blah blah. He goes on, but it is interesting that he, already points out that okay, things are starting to change. That like even with the detective story, you had these superhero detectives like Sherlock Holmes, and I guess moving on to Poirot or whatever, and then you get this kind of more realistic one with Maigret, and the same thing happens, of course, with espionage novels, or at least starting to happen when he's writing that book. Have any of you read this?
No.
No, I haven't.
No, I mean, Kingsley Amis, of course, the
I know of him.
Lucky Jim.
I've read one book by him.
I've got a book of his essays, but I haven't checked whether it contains anything about the spies.
All right. Okay.
So does this constitute a crisis for Dr. No-vember, Mark? If we're now told that The Quiet American's not really a spy novel, and now James Bond's not really.
Now James Bond's not a spy. Yeah, well, Secret Agent counts. Secret Agent counts. Jim's actually got back to me.
Jim mentioned the two characters in the book.
Wint and Kid.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Are they the same in the book?
Yes. I read. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm sure they refer to each other as Mr. Wint or Mr. Kid, but
they could be. But
I don't think I saw that in the book, so maybe that's a movie adaptation.
Yeah, but they look kind of like. Let's see if there's a picture of them. Yeah, there we go. I can share it. Share screen. Share screen. Share screen. Share screen. Yeah, that's what they look like in the movie. If you remember them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've mentioned before, I'm what they call aphasic. It means I don't form pictures in my mind when I'm reading.
Okay.
Even if you've seen the film, and so you don't form pictures at all.
I don't form pictures when I'm reading.
Huh. That's interesting.
I have to say, I'm not sure I formed pictures of these two characters, having read the book or halfway through the book. But I do normally create some sort of image of what I'm reading.
Yeah, I do too, but it's definitely more vivid when I've seen a film version before I've read the book, because it just gets in there.
I find it a bit jarring sometimes when I've read and thoroughly enjoyed a book and I've really immersed in it and got an idea of the characters, and then I see the film and they're all wrong. It's like somebody changed them all.
Yeah. It's always one of those perennial things when people talk about Master and Commander, and I think they think that Russell Crowe's not a bad choice at all, but Paul Bettany's a terrible choice for Maturin, because he's dark and swarthy and all this stuff, and Paul Bettany's tall and blonde, so it's like not exactly following the book. Well, I might as well finish off, I suppose, what I've been reading, and then move on. Not very good host, I suppose, going first, but it seems to just work out. So, as I said, I'm currently reading this. Currently reading London Match by Len Dayton. I finished. I'm also currently reading Woman of No Importance on my Kindle. I finished For Your Eyes Only, and I finished Ashenden by Somerset Maugham, which I really enjoyed. Now, I thought I had read some of the stories before. I don't know why, because I know I'd read some of his short stories before, and I thought some of them were from this. But reading them, none of them seemed familiar to me. And I really liked it, because although it is he loosely connects things together, whether that's done afterwards, after the fact, if they did publish it in more of a book form. So some of the stories kind of run into each other. And there is some humor in there. There's some dark humor in there, but ultimately it's got some really shocking bits in it. It's got some very sad bits in it. And I think what really kind of haunts me about it is that it makes it very clear that this is based on his experiences, right? It's a fictionalized version of his experiences. But I think you can tell when you read and how he writes about certain things that it's much, much closer to home than we realize. Then maybe then he's not really coming out and saying. So there's one point in it where he talks about witnessing an execution, like a firing squad, of a spy makes it down. And the way he talks about it, it's so raw that you feel he must have seen something like that. He must have seen someone put up against a wall and shot. Because there's no glamour to it at all. It's not like like in the movies where it's like "Vive la France" and they shoot him or whatever.
No last cigarette?
No. And that took me aback. And the cold brutality of it, the way he orchestrates this man to be eventually arrested and shot, right? I mean, the guy kind of deserves it, but the way he's able to befriend the guy and and his wife and even his dog, and kind of gets it. It's just incredible. And then the last stories center around his experiences in Russia in 1917, because in reality he was sent there. Morm was sent to Russia to try to prop up the government, Kerensky's government, and stop the Bolshevik Revolution of October 1917. And even when he writes about when it starts to happen, everything's falling down, the Bolsheviks are taking over, people are now, of course, being shot in the street and whatever. It's crazy, and crazy to think, that he's writing it as if it were a fiction, but actually he's writing, from his memory, surely. But really good. It was, honestly, it's a corker. I've got to make a video about it, but yeah, if you haven't read it, and I think you would really like it. He's a great writer. So,
have you read a lot of Mom before, Mark?
A long time ago, I had a very old, battered copy in a house we rented in Sweden. It was one of the few English books the house had was this one volume. I don't know what number it was of short stories of Morm. And I read it and I remember thinking, yeah, this is interesting, but it was probably a little bit too old for me at the time because I was about 12 maybe. And I remember thinking, yeah, it's kind of hard going. But I had read a couple of short stories recently in this book that I've got on Morm. And they were really good. But honestly, Ashenden to me has been I have to read some of his novels. I feel a March of Morm coming on next year or something like that.
I went through a Morm phase when I was in my mid to late 20s. I did the Razor's Edge. I did the Magician. I did the one about the Tahitian painter. The names.
Moon and
Sixpence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did of Human Bondage.
Painted Veil.
What?
A Painted Veil.
I have not read A Painted Veil.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I want to make. I mean, he used to be such a huge and important author, and now he's one of those authors that seem to have been just dropped.
It is interesting because in these Everyman they do put in like timelines and stuff, and they talk about I think it's 1959 he visited Japan, and when he arrived he was mobbed by thousands of fans, just like the Japanese do, right? And it's hard to imagine that now. Of course, probably no one knows even who he is. So
Yeah,
we'll see. Anyway, I'll get to the comments and then we'll move on to you, Randy, and see what you've been reading. So, Skeleton Keybook says, I started with nonfiction Operation Mincemeat. Well, there you go. Helen says, hi, all the images look like an ABBA tribute band. I guess that was Winton Kid. If I see the film first, I can only ever see the actors in the book. I much prefer to decide what the characters look like. And then Jim says, I have the James Bond dossier. Amos wrote the Bond pastiche, Colonel Sun. Yeah. What do you think about the dossier, Jim? I'm kind of enjoying it, actually. And then another one of our co-hosts who sadly can't make it either is Farah. She's popped in. Hi, guys. Sorry I couldn't join in today. Just stopping in to say hello. Hello, Farah. So while Jim gets back to us, if he's still here, Randy, how's your reading been for Dr. November this week?
Well, I haven't done as much reading for Dr. November as I'd like. I'm hosting a book club of my own too, the Lone Star Book Club, and we're reading The Lord of the Rings, which is a little more intense than I expected it to be. But I did almost finish Other Paths to Glory this week, which we're buddy reading together. It's very interesting so far. It's an espionage novel, but it surprised me right away because the main character turns out not to be a spy at all, or at least as far as I know, he's not a spy. Maybe I'll find out later that he is a spy, but right now he looks like he's just a scholar. The main characters are just what you would normally consider NPCs or non-player characters. So there was that, and then of course I reread The Quiet American this week, which never ever gets tired.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's really good.
Oh yeah, it's so good, man. I loved the movie when I saw it with Michael Caine and Brendan Fraser, but the book was just like, wow, it's even better.
Mm-hmm. So it was something you watched first before you read the book the first time around, was it?
I watched it first. Yeah, now I've read the book 3 times now.
You were picturing Michael Caine and Brendan Fraser then?
Yes, definitely. And I wouldn't want to picture anybody else in those roles.
Yeah.
I mean, I could picture someone else in those roles. I'm not blind to the fact that these are just roles that someone else could play, but I thought the casting was so good, why bother?
Yeah.
Here's an example of that. There's a TV show called Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
And they were not originally going to cast Bryan Cranston as the dad. Originally, they were in talks with Matthew Broderick.
Ooh.
And I can see how that would make for such a cool show, but also it's just not necessary to speculate about because we got a perfect Walter White,
Yeah. I could see him doing it though. I could, because I really love the film he does, and I think this is probably might have what have given them the suggestion for him was the Election. Have you seen that film with Matthew Broderick?
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's brilliant.
Good
and
book
there's a very
too.
much that Walter White feel, I think, in just being a loser teacher. So
well, and if you like Election, there's a sequel to it too, called Tracy Flick Can't Win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Election's a novel, fairly well thought of novel, and there's a sequel to it now called Tracy Flick Can't Win, and Tracy Flick's all grown up now.
Uh-huh.
You get to catch up with Matthew Broderick's loser ass character.
I had no idea. I'm gonna check out both novels then. Fine.
Oh, dude, you should. They're well written and they're quick too.
Nice. Well, thanks. See, I love BookTube. You always find out something. Mike, you actually got a copy recently of Other Paths to Glory, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It's sitting here, but I must confess I haven't started it. I got it actually as a result of your review, Mark. I was intrigued by
Guilty.
it. What I tend to do, I've got a list called Book Look, which on my phone every time, and now I've written down Ashenden based on what you said, and I just keep that list when I'm in the charity shops, and it's amazing what you find.
You do seem to have a very well stocked. I mean, Steve always goes on about the Brattle as the Brattle will provide. It seems that your charity shop is in a similar vein.
Well, there's a network of charity shops, and what I do every couple of weekends when my wife's away and working and things, I just sort of do a road trip. I just do one after the other, and see what they've got. But it's the luck of the draw. But also, some of these ones are not very obscure. The Len Daytons are popular, and but you do every now and then find wonderful stuff. But there's a lot on the Book Look list that I haven't found. That's the other challenge. Because our retail shops here are terrible. You guys, well, certainly those of you in the US or the UK, I listen to you talking about how many floors of the bookshop there are. I mean, and our bookshop is normally a small space in a shopping center that mainly sells pins and coffee mugs,
Well, Mike, it depends on what part of the country you're in for bookstores.
Yeah.
Down in my part of Virginia, there's nothing worth talking about.
Oh, really? Eh?
I'd have to drive maybe Washington, D.C. And even if you think Washington, D.C., is a fairly important city, but their bookstores aren't huge.
Okay.
You'd
But
have
I mean,
to go,
like Borders and Barnes and Noble and those sort of
oh,
places.
you
I
got
look at-
Barnes and Noble is just junk.
is
I
it-
mean, it's all popular fiction and self-help type of stuff, you know.
You mean like a good independent bookshop, basically? You haven't got.
Yeah, I had one in Seattle called Elliott Bay Books,
Hmm.
and they would not carry a lot of titles, so their shelves are packed with wide and deep selections. And the idea is they probably sold one or two of those books a year, but you'd come in looking for those books and buy something. Like I was in Barnes and Noble last week, just checking out a book that I may want to buy sometime, and it's just like it's all just all brand new, spanking fiction and popular non-fiction. It's like not a lot of choices there, at least for me.
I came across something. I kind of on topic, I suppose, but because I recently did a book haul of stuff I found on this website for this secondhand bookshop in northern Bohemia. So it's eastern Bohemia, it's in northern Bohemia, and they had some things I'd never seen before, and I can't remember the name of the publishing house, but they have all these classics. I don't know, like Treasure Island or I don't know, Alice in Wonderland, and they look nice. They're nice, kind of 1950s, 1960s kind of hardbacks, kind of bit dodgy artwork, let's say. But I was looking at them thinking, there's something very different about them. And then when I looked into it, they are Soviet-produced English language versions of English language classics.
Wow.
So I'm curious. I want to get a couple of copies because they're not very expensive. They look just like curiosity pieces, because who's going to have a Treasure Island printed in the Soviet Union, for example? But it makes me wonder whether they, what their criteria was and whether they went through and changed things or not. Sorry, Greg.
I would say I'm fairly certain it was Jim's books, reading and stuff. He had a Soviet English edition of Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it's the same kind of publishing house. Yeah.
And it just looked, I guess the text is the same. I don't know, but
it's worth checking. It's worth checking.
I'm going to get Treasure Island
edition of like one of my, I would buy it just for the curiosity's sake alone.
Yeah. So I'll get Treasure Island. If they had 3 Men in a Boat, it would be a shoe in, of course. But,
you need to get Alice in Wonderland so you can check the Red Queen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but they did have a couple of other things, which I thought would have been good curiosities, also to do with communism and Soviet stuff. But I can't actually remember what they are now. But at the time I thought, but I was thinking, $25 for that, and then I'm thinking actually probably it wouldn't be that much. It's probably not that much. You'd probably actually be able to sell it for more in Britain even. So yeah. But we have a few comments, and then we'll come to you, Mike, if Randy's finished with his November reading, Dr. November reading. Farah has a question though for you all. So far, what's everyone's favorite book so far for Dr. November? I mean, I'll go first then. Quiet American is amazing, but I've read it before. So my favorite new book, I have to say so far, because I haven't finished Farah's recommendation yet of Woman of No Importance, although it's very good. But finished, I have to go with Ashenden. Loved it. Bloody loved it. What about you, Randy?
The Quiet American, definitely.
Yeah. Greg?
I'm leaning towards Diamonds Are Forever, just because Quiet American was a reread. But although Quiet American is the better book.
Pemsky Papers didn't do it for you?
I DNF'd them. I told you that.
Yeah, I know. I was joking. So, and Mike?
To me, it would be a toss-up between The Quiet American and The Spy Who Came from the Cold, because I read that both for the first time. I think I'd probably go with The Quiet American, because I don't know. There was something about that book I really loved, and it's that I have a slight bias for the Vietnam story. Books around that story always intrigue me. But look, I mean, the spy who came from the cold feels like the beginning of a journey, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Super. What else we got here? I thought the Bond dossier was a great reference. Yeah, I'm beginning to see that. Sometimes I just can't imagine anyone else playing a role. Harry and Marv in Home Alone, for example, they are fantastic. Yes, Helen, that's a good example. Sarah and Jim says, "I have your copy, Mark, and the hardcover I got years ago, more years than I care to count." So super. Right, so we'll go this way around. So Greg will come to you, and then Mike will come to you.
All right.
Sorry, which of us goes next, Mark?
Greg.
Oh, me. Okay.
Yes,
well, all I read for Dr. No-vember this week is Diamonds Are Forever. So I've already talked a bit about that one. But the other book, it's not really espionage, but Han Kang's Human Acts. That is about the Gwonju uprising in South Korea in 1980. Where a bunch of soldiers just open fired on demonstrators.
Right.
So I mean, I just mentioned because it's kind of timely nowadays, especially in the United States, thinking about people out protesting and soldiers walking through the street, though you really don't expect them soldiers in the United States, but how easily something like that could happen nowadays or now.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy, especially with all those things going on, with sending soldiers and whatever into cities in the United States.
Absolutely. I'd read it before and I read it again, and I'm thinking, like, even though it was written in Korean in 2014, set in 1980, it's still very relevant. And so that's the closest that I could get to another espionage book.
I'm just wondering if Mike's had one of his blackouts. You're saying they haven't had for 6 months. It's got to, so.
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, hi.
I got a message saying the host has muted your. I didn't do anything, Mark. I didn't do anything.
Oh, I muted your microphone for a second because there's kind of background noise. I was trying to go through to see who it was. But as you weren't.
I think you switched off my camera as well.
I can't do that, I don't think.
Because I didn't touch anything. It happened. All right.
That's weird. Do you want to just leave and come back in again?
Let's try that. Okay.
Because I keep hearing this noise, but I don't think it's from you. I don't know where it's coming from. Can we hear it now? Is it him?
It may be.
I don't know.
I don't hear the. Is it Randy?
It might be Randy. Maybe.
Is it me?
It might be, but it's weird. I don't know whether it's feedback or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter too much. Hopefully Mike will come back, especially as we didn't get to him. So, so those are the only two you managed this week.
I've been reading some other stuff, but I don't know.
Of course, yeah.
But I've read a historical novel called The Manning Tree Witches.
Okay.
By A.K. Blackmore, set in 1645. And it's about women being accused of being witches.
Okay.
And what you do with witches.
And
there's one part that I had to look up about one of the witch finders saying witches are made out of wood.
Right.
And that just brought me back to Monty Python.
Oh yeah.
And so now I wanted to go say, like, when did people start believing witches were made out of wood? So I mean, it's curious about how fervent people were against witches. Everything was witchcraft. If something went wrong, someone was casting a spell on you, and it's just like, dude, your animals just died of a disease that's normal, but to them it was the devil.
Yeah. Right. Oh, sorry, Greg.
It's a curious read, and that's basically what I've been. And I have not actually been doing a lot of reading this week.
No, it's hard, isn't it? Though, as we head towards the Christmas holidays and everything, or
Oh
summer
no,
holidays.
this is my wife wanting to paint the upstairs.
Aha. Apparently, Helen says she saw a TV program on the Manningtree witches, and Manningtree's in Essex, in England. So there you go. Where are we? Farah says, I'm at the tail end of The Spy and the Traitor, and it's one of my favorite books of the year, for sure.
Spy and
Well,
the
there we
Traitor's
go.
great.
There we go. Hoping to read The Spy Who Came In From the Cold next week to wrap up the event. Skeleton Key Book says, I was in DC for Bouchercon, I don't know, in October 2001. Military police everywhere. And apparently, yeah, the Manningtree witches are very scary. So let's go over to Mike. Please tell us about your reading week so far.
Okay, well, those who've seen the video I released a couple of days ago will know I've had a tough week. And in the south, our main annual big holiday is at the end of the year because, of course, it's summer here. So ahead of that, which is now, is great work pressure to get everything finished and shut all down for the Christmas holiday, which in my case is nearly 4 weeks. So I'm hanging in for that and haven't got as much reading done as I'd like, but I have. I'm carrying on, as I've mentioned before, with Frederick Forsyth's autobiography. I've got through the bit where he's in East Berlin as a journalist, which is fascinating, with his 5 languages, and the trick he uses is to pretend that he's only got English and very poor German, and they don't take him seriously, and that gives him an in into a lot of situations. And just where I've got to now is he's just arrived in Israel and he met David Ben Gurion. So it's very clear as I go through the book that his novels come directly from lived experience. You were saying earlier, Mark, with the Somerset Maugham book. It does seem, I suppose the old adage is right what you know, but it does seem to be that sort of thing. And then, inspired by Greg, I picked up a copy of Diamonds Are Forever. This copy is, in fact, as old as I am, and I'm about halfway through. And it's the first James Bond that I've read. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. As we said just now, it's very different from the films, and I'm sort of divorcing myself from the films and just reading it fresh. And I'm quite enjoying it. I still haven't decided. I'll wait to the end of the book to decide quite how good I think it is, but it's a very interesting one. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I picked up a copy of Graham Greene's The Human Factor only because it's got a South African aspect to the story. The UK are apparently trying to ensure that the South African gold reserves. So I thought that would be fun. And then I don't know if Farah's still with us, but I'm reading little bits each week from this non-fiction book called I Lie for a Living, which is all about spies. And the one I stumbled across this week is Virginia Hall. Now, I assume is that the same lady you were talking about?
That's the same lady, yeah. Yeah.
In this story, she's referred to as the limping lady.
Uh-huh.
But I thought it was, because I know Farah was talking about it, and then you're reading the book that Farah recommended. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I won't bore you. I'm sure you know all the stories that are in here, but it's another example of an intriguing story emerging from that book.
Incredible, though, isn't it? These real life people. I mean,
it really is. And then a couple of books that I found this week. I haven't read these, but I found them. An Ian Fleming biography. This one's by Andrew Lysett. I wanted to check, Randy, is this the same author that you had? Last week you were talking about an Ian Fleming biography.
You need to take yourself off mute, Randy.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the same one, but I'd have to double check.
It's probably Nicholas Shakespeare, because it's the one Greg read last year.
I read that last year, Nicholas Shakespeare.
Funny enough, my memory, I would have remembered a name like Shakespeare. I remember last week we asked Randy and he looked it up and told us, and I think it was the third name. I can't remember now.
I think it was.
It wasn't Randy last week. We had Alan last week. So
Alan Reed's last week.
Oh, then I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, I can see how you can confuse the two. They both got grey beards, so.
No, Oh yeah, I don't know. Let me not get. Anyway, I picked this up and I looked it up on Amazon afterwards, and it looks quite good. But I picked it up for a song. And then this book I knew nothing about, but it leapt out at me from the shelves as they do. It's called Hitler's Spy Chief.
Canaris. Yeah, I've read that.
Have you read this particular book?
I'm not sure it is that particular one.
It's by Richard Bassett. It says the Wilhelm Canaris mystery, the most dangerous intelligence man in the world. Obviously, yeah, one of Hitler's henchmen. Oh, we lost Randy. So that's coming in. Let's put it this way: I'm well stocked for next year's Dr. November.
All right. Well, we've got a few more comments. Farah says, also listening to The Rose Code by Kate Quinn about 3 English women working as code breakers in World War II. That's pretty good so far as well. I guess Jim's maybe paused it in a little bit of catch up. Mike's screen says configure Camo Studio. Helen says Virginia Hall had a fascinating life. And Farah says she really did, Helen. She had so much to overcome and was so brave. And yes, I'm definitely feeling that so far in what I've read. But it's been paused a little bit because I didn't expect to read Ashenden. That I would just plow through Ashenden rather, and so that's kind of put it on hold a little bit for me. So yeah. And has anyone got anything planned for the final week?
I do. Well, let me see. I think I have it. I may not get to it because I have some other reading commitments, but I want to read this.
Oh, Eric Ambler.
I
don't think I've read that one though.
Yeah, I just picked this up at a used bookstore. Just happened on the shelf. So I'm thinking I should try to find an audio book of. I'm thinking The Woman of No Importance I may pick up.
It's maybe good. I mean, I'm really enjoying it so far.
So. I can find, what do you think is? Now I've read the Spy Game, Berlin Game before. I may just pick that up and do that again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, great fun. I imagine actually as audiobooks, they'll probably be pretty good. I don't know who does them, but yeah. And Randy, what about you? Have you got anything planned for next week for Dr. November or anything apart from Lord of the Rings?
Well, I'm also reading the Cider House Rules with another group. So I'm switching back and forth between those two. And I also just started Alan Quatermain by H. Rider Haggard.
Getting an early jump on Haguar.
Who's hosting that one? Randy. Is that you, Randy, or is someone else who's
hosting? That's me.
That's you.
That's me. Yeah, Haggard January.
Are we going to do announcements about that? Or are we just going to read it?
We're going to do announcements about it. It's going to be huge. It'll probably be the biggest YouTube event of the year.
Wow. Second to Dr. November, of course.
We're bringing H. Rider Haggard back, baby. He wrote a lot of different interesting stuff. It wasn't just Lost World stuff. It's interesting to read about how diverse his writing was. He was a real Arthur Conan Doyle type writer.
A very interesting life as well, of course. So, yeah.
Well, it's the whole. The best story I've read in his biography so far is that I guess he had written 2 novels and neither of them had done very well. And then Treasure Island had come out, and he was having a drink with his brother, and his brother said, "If you can write a novel as exciting as Treasure Island, I'll bet you $100 you can't do it." So he wrote King Solomon's Mines.
Wow, I think it was more of I bet you 5 guineas. But yeah.
He pulled it off though.
Yeah, well,
So Randy, you gotta get us all together so we can announce what we're gonna do for that in January.
Because normally we would do it in the beginning of December, but the problem is this is January, so of course we lose at least a week from December because people are going off to do Christmassy stuff. So we're probably better off announcing end of November, like next week.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So,
are we doing any prompts, or just read the author?
What do y'all think?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it depends.
I don't know. Let me think about it.
I enjoy like Jim's format for home. I was gonna say Homes for the Holidays. Homes is where the heart is. Where you have, he gives you the ability to have, of course, long form, short form, pastiche, whatever, which we don't necessarily have, of course, with Haggard, but you do have with Haggard, of course, lots of novels. I think you do have short stories from him.
There's 3 volumes of short stories.
Yeah, so you got short stories. You've got also, I think, some nonfiction from him, and then you could
10 books of nonfiction. There's 69 books total.
Yeah, you could easily do. Well, there you go. You could easily do it like that, and then you could have a week where you read something Haggard inspired. I mean, he inspired a lot of stuff, so there's plenty of lost world, lost civilization.
I think we want to do some kind of prompt, though. Yeah, I think prompts will be fun. I'm going to think about some prompts. We've got a discussion group set up for the co-hosts. Greg, you're in it, right?
I'm in it. Yeah, I have
cool.
to see if I can pull it off. I think I can, because I was going to be reading Mishima's Sea of Fertility, but the guy who wanted to do it has never gotten back in touch with me. So I figured,
well, this could be so much cooler than that.
Well, I think what we'll do,
anyway,
obviously, I think it has been a slower reading week for Dr. November. So I'll go through the final comments here. We can finish, and then we can discuss Haggard, in the green room afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm sure some people
Haggard January.
See the thought process behind it all. So where are we? The Rose Code sounds good. I like code breaking. Helen, have you read The Alice Network by Kate Quinn? That was another great one about female espionage in World War One. Skeleton Key Book says, I've just started Epitaph for a Spy. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I did my London semester, I was living a few doors down from Eric Ambler. Oh, that's a shame. You can't really go see him now, sadly. But
did he pass away, or is he still like dating really old?
Oh no, he would be well over 100 by now. He's definitely gone. But I think, if anyone out there happens to be living next door to Len Dayton, take your chance and go and say hi. I'm sure he'd be happy. Probably not, so don't do it. Mike, could versus talking about the John Pearson biography of Fleming? There's been 3 of them, I believe. He says there's three Fleming biographies of note. Anyway, Helen says, no, I haven't read any Kate Quinn. I will have a look for her books at the library. They sound like my cup of tea. Helen, she has one more that I know of called The Huntress 2, which is more espionage during World War II, which sounded really good.
Huntress
I really like. Sorry?
The Huntress is good.
Oh, you've read it, have you?
Yeah, it's not quite espionage. It's more adventure story than espionage, my thought, but you could squeeze it in if you wanted to.
Okay, cool. Skeleton Key, that's so cool about living near Eric Ambler. I was hoping to get to Epitaph for a Spy 2.
Oh, Epitaph.
So much escape. It was great, wasn't it?
Yes, that's why. That's why the State of Siege is on my shelf for this year.
Yeah. He was great. I think, Mike, I probably didn't ask you what you plan next week, did I?
No.
And then we'll wrap up.
Well, I'm halfway through 2 books, so I'm not going to be too ambitious. But I have got this. It's called Quantum of Solace, but maybe a repackaging, because it's all the short stories in one little volume. So I think being realistic about how much time I'm going to have, that might be the way to go, is to try and knock off a few of those short stories.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny thing, because I think if you pick up, depending what you pick up, like for me, as I say, picking up that Ashenden whoosh, I was off. And I think sometimes when you read short story collections, it goes faster, doesn't it? I don't know why. Maybe because there's you get something, a story starts and then concluded, story starts and concluded. Maybe it's something like that, but sometimes it is a different experience. But like picking up, like Greg mentioned, Epitaph for a Spy, I got through it, I don't know, in 2 days easily. It's just so good. You just page turn, and it just depends on what you've got. Did I ask you, Randy, next week? I can't remember now. You've changed position.
You did. I think I mentioned I was reading Cider House Rules, and I've got a whole stack of Ian Flemings that I'm looking at getting into too.
And then we got into Haggard and stuff, didn't we? Super. Okay, well, we'll end here, I guess. thank you guys for joining me. Thanks to everybody who came and watched and commented. We will be back next week. I don't know who's going to join, but we will be back for a season finale of Dr. November, and probably anything else, because depends how productive the week was or will be. So thanks, gents. Thanks everybody in the comments.
Yeah,
have a wonderful rest of the weekend. See you all very soon. Take care. Cheerio.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.